Within the Reference Guide to Regulatory Compliance, page 203, we're discussing homeownership counseling. In 1990, Congress amended the Housing and Urban Development Act of 1968 to require lenders to provide certain disclosures to applicants for first-time home ownership, informing them of the availability of HUD-approved home ownership counseling. Disclosures were also required when a mortgage loan went into default. This requirement was allowed to expire in 1994. Congress revived it in 1998, but it was allowed to expire again in 2000. In 2002, Congress made the requirements permanent. In 2006, the National Defense Authorization Act required HUD to revise its homeownership counseling notice to add the rights of service members. For more information about protections for service members, see Loans to Service Members. In January 2011, HUD issued mortgage letter requiring the mortgage servicers notify delinquent borrowers on home equity conversion mortgages of HUD-approved homeowner counseling. The coverage is for eligible homeowners, home loans, and creditors. Creditor, simply enough, is a person or entity that is servicing a home loan on behalf of itself or another person or entity. The eligible homeowner of a single-family home will be the principal residence. A homeowner is or is expected to be unable to make payments, correct a deficiency within a measurable time, or reasonable time I should say, or resume full home loan payments because of an involuntary loss or reduction in the employment of a homeowner, the self-employment of a homeowner, or income from the pursuit of the occupation of the homeowner. Because loan payments not being attainable because of any similar loss or reduction by any person who contributes to the income of the homeowner, or because of a significant reduction in the income in the household due to divorce or death, or because of a significant increase of basic expenses of the homeowner or an immediate family member of the homeowner, or whom the homeowner provides substantial care of financial assistance due to an unexpected or significant decrease in medical expense, of medical expenses, a divorce, unexpected or significant damage to a property, the repair of which will not be covered by private or public insurance, or a large property tax increase, or the Secretary of HUD determines that the annual income of the homeowner is no greater than the annual income established by the Secretary as being low or moderate income. A loan cannot be assisted under Title V of the Housing Act of 1949. And what does this all signify? It's considered covered under homeownership counseling as an eligible homeowner. And like I said, the first part of it was a single-family home used as a principal residence. I guess that's one of the requirements of being an eligible homeowner. And then income has to be somehow affected for a person to be considered an eligible homeowner. And then lastly, the loan cannot be assisted under Title V of the Housing Act to be considered an eligible homeowner. Okay, home loans, easier still, is that qualifying under homeownership counseling are home loans that are secured by a mortgage or lien on residential property including a one-family residence, including condos, cooperatives, and a manufactured home, and the lot on which it is located. So now that we think that we know what's covered, the requirements is for notification to an eligible homeowner of the availability of homeownership counseling. The notice must notify the homeowner of any homeownership counseling offered by the creditor, and notify the homeowner of any available homeownership counseling offered by nonprofit organizations approved by HUD, or provide the appropriate toll-free telephone number to obtain a list of organizations. The notice, of course, must state the completion of the counseling program is required for insurance pursuant to Section 203 of the National Housing Act. If the notice is provided to a mortgage applicant that is eligible for disaster insurance or rehabilitation insurance. And lastly, the notice must notify the homeowner by a statement or notice written in plain English by HUD in consultation with the Secretary of Defense and the Secretary of the Treasury, explaining the mortgage and foreclosure rights of service members and the dependents of such service members under the Service Member Civil Relief Act, including a toll-free military one-source number to call if service members or their dependents of such service members require further assistance. The creditor must notify an eligible homeowner before the expiration of 45 days after the loan becomes delinquent or goes into default. Requirements for mortgage servicers of home equity conversion mortgages, HECMs. When borrowers are delinquent on HECMs due to a failure to pay property charges, the mortgagees must provide a notice at the time of the first delinquency of the borrower. Options including establishing a realistic repayment plan for the delinquent property charges, contacting a HUD-approved housing counseling agency, HCA, to receive free assistance to find a viable resolution to their delinquency, and refinancing the delinquent HECM to a new HECM if there is sufficient equity. Enforcement is all of your regular fee of penalties, and that's it for the homeownership counseling section here. However, there's new requirements under, I want to say, I don't know if it's Truth in Lending or if it's RESPA. There I say Truth in Lending, and I'll have to get into those when we read Reg Z.